But maybe we should transition, Larry. Have you gone through all the different kind of segments, or have we missed a segment?
No, those are the main segments. I haven't talked about the open initiatives and consortia that are involved. I can talk a little bit about that.
Maybe. But how mature are they? Are they? I'm guessing they're a work in progress because it's a relatively it's a fast moving space. So, but maybe paint us a thumbnail.
Space. These could be good places to start if you're interested in tinkering with some stuff on your own. Maybe customizing a solution. So we have organizations called OpenCV, which is a free and open source library for computer vision, provides a comprehensive set of algorithms for image and video processing and things like that. Tends to be popular with developers that want to build their own, custom computer vision applications. You can see them at opencv.org. We have TensorFlow, which is more of an end platform for machine learning, which sounds like you may be familiar with. Another free and open source software library for machine learning and AI. You can use for a range of tasks. We have CAFE, C-A-F-F-E, which is a deep learning framework and developed by Berkeley AI Research. So that's another one you can look at. We have PyTorch, which is PyTorch, which is a machine learning library based on Torch library, used for computer vision and natural language processing, which was originally developed by Meta AI. And then we have TensorRT, which is a software development kit for high-performance deep learning inference that includes a deep learning inference optimizer and runtime that delivers low latency and high throughput. So those are all open initiatives and consortia that you might want to check out if you're considering heading down this road. We tend to tell users to avoid investing too much in customized solutions. No matter what it is, really. I mean, it's one thing to kind of experiment and stuff. And I'm not trying to disparage the open consortia or anything, but if you are planning on building a customized solution for this, I would caution anybody that would be doing that because it can become hard to maintain, right? It can be hard to be sustainable as technology changes and everything is changing so rapidly. Unless you're very competent and, have been down that road before and know what you're doing, you may want to be cautious. That's all I would say.
Yeah, I guess we've seen a lot of larger industrial manufacturers or energy producers, probably more on the, let's say it may be more on the discrete manufacturing side that where I see it, right? Kind of the big automotive guys have massive IT departments and kind of invest in building their own platforms. So engineering is kind of a big thing in many of these larger organizations that have significant development capacity and have kind of built expertise on building.
Right. And these are organizations that have that capacity and they have that competence. And, I'm sure they, not every organization tends to have that same level of competence. So.
No. And the question sometimes is, should they be doing that is a different question. But I think I take your point, right? This is moving quick, and unless computer vision unless you happen to be, I don't know, a Sony or a Carl Zeiss who happens to be also in the business of producing sensors and optics, so maybe there's a different case to be made there. But if if it's not your core competence, then maybe you should be looking at how do I get mainstream.
And I also want to mention that a lot of the big suppliers do support these initiatives and consortia as well. So.
Great. Okay. So maybe let's wrap it up with some closing thoughts on if you're at an industrial organization today and you've got questions about which direction to go in terms of adopting computer vision. I guess it's the why adopt the computer vision. And how, maybe a couple of thoughts just to close on, Larry.
Well, my thoughts would be you've already adopted computer vision, right? I don't care what plant or manufacturing facility or critical infrastructure facility you're working on, you're going to have a lot of video inputs. You have computer vision already. The question is that have you applied, the right analytics and AI to this computer vision to make better decisions about your business? And that's where the real value is. So in a lot of cases, this probably won't require huge initial upfront capital investments, right? These are technologies that you already have. And if you look at certain, very promising use cases that have, the most promising rates of return, and the most promising business value, I think this is a great example of how you can actually use AI to achieve a good business result. And then, of course, you have kind of the holy grail, that I mentioned earlier. Which is really being able to apply video analytics and AI to your entire spectrum of computer vision applications within your plant. And that's, I think, when you get into that cross-discipline kind of optimization and things like that, to me, that's where a lot of the value really starts coming out. And you start looking at interrelationships that maybe you didn't see before, and cost savings opportunities that jump out at you that didn't exist before. So, in a lot of ways, we're kind of in new territory here, but, we've already seen some very promising, economic value, in a lot of these applications. It's a great place to start, if you are looking at a digital transformation program. It's a relatively easy way, to take a lot of this video input and apply AI and get a benefit from it, quickly, and then expand your digital transformation, project out from there. There are challenges and there are difficulties. It's like I mentioned, with all these different suppliers in the landscape, it's really hard to find one supplier that can do everything that you need to do. So, make very sure what your requirements are and evaluate your suppliers, based on that to make sure they can fulfill, all your requirements in terms of providing a solution. If you're not looking to a single supplier, then determine who you need to partner with, in terms of engineering expertise and so forth to actually make this happen. And that's another thing, right? Many of the suppliers in this space, tend not to have extensive, substantial service capabilities, right? I think especially when you look at a lot of these startup companies that are just getting involved in video analytics and AI, they're software companies. They don't have a lot of that service expertise. So that's something that you need to think about. And you need to find a systems integrator partner that understands whatever industry that you're in, as well as the technology, right? They have to speak the language of your industry and know your applications. This is a nascent market. We mentioned supplier selection before. I mean, you really have to look at, is this company going to be around in 10 years, or is this kind of a flash in the pan, startup company? And, avoid too much customization would be my final piece of advice. I mean, I know there's a lot of companies that have that expertise to develop customized solutions, but after so many years in the industry and seeing end users develop customized solutions for many different things, I can tell you it gets very much harder to sustain, in the long term. I mean, I would point to the example of the Dow Mod 5 system, right? I mean, Dow made a great control system. Back in the 90s, it was a great control system, did a great job, but it was ultimately unsustainable because Dow wasn't a software company, so Mod 5 kind of went by the wayside and, they went on to other things. So, just be careful if you're going to do customized solutions. That's all I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I just had some, as you were talking through those, and I think those are all great guidance on how to approach it. I kind of was thinking about how we worked with a couple of our clients, and I think what we ended up doing really was going through a portfolio of use cases, right, which was in discovering that they already had a number. They didn't necessarily call them computer vision, but they were using computer vision technologies, and we ended up cataloging many of the use cases they already had, not always on the same platforms, to your earlier point. And so it feels a little bit like IoT in some ways, right? You end up with lots of different use cases pockets of use cases across the company, and what some of the companies are trying to do now is say, all right, this is a bigger thing. We need to take more of a platform approach to this and
right.
consolidate where appropriate to try and get some scale. Now that it's kind of a mainstream application of AI, right?
Yeah, and I think that's where it's going. I think we're going to see increasing, platformatization, I guess, if you want to call it that. Yeah. That does seem to be, the way that things evolve, in the industrial space.
Well, I know you're still digging deep into this, right, Larry? You're still researching it and compiling some of those suppliers. So,
yes, this is an ongoing topic of research for ARC. We are going to be publishing a report on this fairly soon. We're talking about doing our typical, the quantitative side of things, sizing the market for this and forecasting the market by various industries and applications and so forth. So this is something that we'll be following continuously from now on.